Welcome to Dysfunctionally Yours, the podcast where we embrace the chaos, laugh through the struggles, and find hope on the other side of trauma. I'm your host, Brittany, and if you've ever felt like your life was a beautifully messy roller coaster of dysfunction, trust me, you're in good company. Here, we'll have real, raw, and sometimes ridiculous conversations about mental health, relationships, and healing, because let's be honest, life isn't always pretty, but that doesn't mean we can't come out of it stronger and maybe even smiling. So grab a cup of coffee or a glass of bubbles, and let's navigate this wild journey together, dysfunctionally, but never alone.
Hi, friends. Welcome back. Well, welcome back to another episode of Dysfunctionally Yours. I am your host, Brittany. Yay! Happy day, whatever day you're listening to this. Happy day. So, this has been a week, an absolute doozy of a week. And so, because of the doozy of a week, the as promised episode of Boundaries did not come to fruition. It just did not. It's only halfway done, it's only halfway ready, and I just did not feel comfortable or okay putting that out. And I just didn't have the time, right? So I am putting together, we're just going to skip into like a little bit of AMA, like a little Ask Me Anything that has been sitting around in the archives waiting for a moment such as this. So I'm glad I had some like foresight to hold on to some of those things instead of giving them all at one time. But this is also a really good example of, like I said, it was supposed to be an episode about boundaries, and part of my boundaries this week was being able to prioritize and do what was within my capacity to do and what wasn't in my capacity to do. And so, unfortunately, this took a little bit of the back burner. And also, we're still here. I'm still here. We're still going to get through it. And I'm not going to put, one of those emergency broadcasting like beep saying we will resume broadcasting at a later date after the national emergency is over. So we're here and we're going to get through it with minimal prep. It's all still on my phone. It's not even on a card yet. So that's about where we are. And that's okay. That's okay. But before we get into all of that, we're going to do a little bit of ache and relief of the week. My ache of the week is, well, my ache of the week is the week. Family shit sucks. My least favorite shit. My least favorite shit is shitting right now. And so there's just some family things going on that I don't love that are really, really, really putting me in a situation that I would not like to be in. And there's a lot of boundaries that are like, okay, this is why we had these boundaries and we'll get back to them and it's going to be okay. But in the meantime, it is really stressful and very frustrating, and I don't love it. So that is the ache. I'm sure at a later date, I'll be able to talk a little bit more about it, but this is just where we are right now, and it is stressful as fuck. My relief of the week, though, is that I've had support doing this, and I know in a different life, all of the things that are going on right now would have me spiraling, really, really, really distraught, really, really struggling. And I'm not. I'm fine. And I've had some support doing it. I've had some push to do the hard things that I don't want to do. And that is a positive thing. So we love a support system. We love people that are able to step in and help out when they can. So I am grateful. Also, we all know I'm a big Vanderpump girl. And so I have a Vanderbrunch with Tom Schwartz this week. Well, I guess by the time you listen to it, I'll have already gone to it. But I'm super excited about that. And me and my girlfriend are going to go just geek out to some Tom Schwartz. And it's like, what if he comes close? What if he comes by me? What if he wants to have a conversation with me? Like, wouldn't that geeking out over it? Very exciting. So that's where that's where we are with my ache and relief of the week. So that's fun. That's a good time. And I think that's a really good example of like there can still be good in the middle of a storm, right? Some random cliche about rainbows and storms and blah, 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 blah. That whenever we hear them, we're like, I don't want to go through the storm to get a rainbow. But I think that, again, this is why I always point out the ache and relief of the week, because you can have hard things going on and then still be able to be like, yeah, but there's also good things happening. There's also positivity in your life or in the world or, moment to moment. One moment does not need to take up all the other moments, right? So that's great. We love that. So with, with all of that, I did have this ask me anything. I have not, usually I prep them, right? So usually they're on a card and I have a little bit of like, I know what's coming. I don't even know what's coming. They were all like copy and pasted into this. And so we're just gonna, I didn't even look at I didn't even look at them. I don't even know what's going on really. So bear with me where it's about to get bumpy around here. All right. So if you were a ghost, where would you haunt and why? Well, because I'm positive I would be a petty ass ghost, like a whole ass petty ghost. I would obviously go haunt the rattlesnake and it would be hilarious. That is what I would do. Just to watch her be crazy. Like it would be so funny to me. I'm petty. We had a whole petty episode. I'm petty. That would be my petty. Even as a ghost, I would be petty. And we love that journey for me a lot. All right. Let's get a little, some of these are a little deep. But obviously some of them aren't because I get to be a petty ghost. All right. What's the hardest boundary you've ever had to set and did it stick? I guess speaking of the rattlesnake, right? I think that's the hardest boundary I ever set was to be like, nah, we're done here. We're done. And, to be like, I'm cutting you off. Like, I don't care who you are. And did it stick? Yes. However, I will say that didn't come easy. That wasn't like a one and done thing. That wasn't like oh, now that I know, let me just enforce this. No, it came with a lot of like acknowledgement and struggle and bouncing back and forth until I finally got to that point where I was like, all right, I am actually done with this. So did it stick? Yes. Did it stick the first time or the second time or even the third time? No, not, not at all. Okay. Do you believe people can truly change or do they just get better at hiding who they are? I feel like I've answered something similar to this before. I do think that people can change. And I do think that people get better at hiding who they truly are. So I think both of those things can be true. I definitely don't think that they are a both things. Or like not a both things. That didn't even make sense. I don't I don't think that it has to be one or the other. I think that it can be both. Um I feel like I've changed. I feel like I personally take feedback and experiences really well and I want to do better and I want to be better. I want to be a better version of myself. I want to be accountable where I need to be accountable for. And at the end of the day, there's still a lot of me that is still just me, right? Pretty unfiltered, pretty raw, pretty pretty brazen sometimes, but, um, but not always. And I do think that there are people that just acclimate and don't put in the work to change and maybe just maneuver and pivot around. Hi, Ibra. She really apparently likes coming to the podcast because she has been at the past few. Hi, little guest. Hi. Hi, sweet girl. Um, so I think that both of those things can be true. And I really think that it's up to the person engaging with that other human to be like, okay, did they change? Or are they just better at hiding this? Or are they just like appeasing me? Because I think that happens too, right? There's a lot of times I think we don't necessarily think we need to change for somebody, but we can we can show up in a way that they need us to show up, but that doesn't mean that it changed altogether. Obviously, do not take this as me saying, like, let's change our partners. I think that's a very different question, but that is obviously where my brain goes. We don't need to change anybody. Like, it's not our job to change another person. It's just our job to have conversations and set boundaries and figure out what works for us versus what works for, I don't know, somebody else. Like, so I don't know if that makes sense, but that is where my brain went with that one. Ibra, girl, enough. You're being crazy. You're being a crazy girl. Go. All right. What's a lesson that you learned the hard way, but are grateful for now? Ooh. Well, what is everything? Every every lesson I've learned the hard way. I'm like, have I ever learned a lesson that I learned the easy way? I don't know. I don't know if I did. Um, yeah, I feel like everything I've learned the hard way, but let's see. If I could pick one, or if I had to pick one, a lesson that I learned the hard way, but very grateful for now is, and I've talked about it a lot actually, is the whenever whenever all of my like self-interest things really started to impact friends and family, and I finally had that one person that was bold enough to be like, "Ah, no, I can't do this anymore. Like, I love you so much, but I'm tapping out if this continues." Um, to really help me understand that, like, people are still people and people have limits, and they can still love us and they can still care for us, but they are allowed to have limits about what they're willing to continue to do, to put up with, to engage with, because it does impact them. Other people do impact us. And so I think really being able to understand that is huge, right? Because I too, if I flipped that as into lessons today, I can still love and care for people and not want anything to do with them and not feel like it works in my world to continue to engage with them or to talk to them or to have them around. And it doesn't mean that I don't love them. It just means that this is my boundary, this is my limit, and I just can't do it anymore. And so those are hard things to do, but knowing that you can do it, knowing that it's okay is also acceptable. So I think that's a big lesson. You can still love them and not continue to tolerate. Lots of weird little boundary things here, even though this isn't the boundary episode. All right, anyways, don't worry, we're not going to stay in therapy hour forever. But, excuse me, but honestly, if I start sending you all invoices after this, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Check your mail, check your invoice. I did warn you. All right, what else we got? What is the dumbest argument you've ever had with someone and who was right? First of all, regardless of what the argument was, I was right. I was right. I was me. I was right. Actually, I don't believe that. I'm not always right. That is not actually a hill that I would die on. The dumbest argument I've had. God. had dumb arguments. Who doesn't have dumb arguments? What is a dumb argument even? Like, what are we considering dumb? I think I've had arguments that I thought that they were really important, right? Like, you said you were gonna come over and then you didn't, and now I'm upset about it. Now we're arguing. I'm sure they have thought that that was dumb. Like, it's not that big a deal, Brittany, chill out. That's kind like, but I'm right. Like, it's inconsiderate. Um, but like, I feel like I've probably also argued over, I don't know, where Mount Everest was and also was right. And also was right there. I don't know. I think it depends on who you're talking to, right? But I mean, sometimes it's silly, sometimes it's in jest, but I'm sure I've had some dumb arguments. Um, but those are all in the eyes of the beholder, right? I don't know. Do you think soulmates are real, or is it just a marketing ploy from Hallmark? I think I don't know. Are soulmates real? No, I don't think so. I think no. I think no. God, what do I think? I think that you can have a lot of different types of soul people, right? People that understand you and get you and um and love you, and also I just feel like the term soulmate means like this always and forever, no matter what. And I don't think that anything is no matter what, because life happens and boundaries and expectations, and I don't know, people grow or people experience hardships and that changes them and impacts them, and sometimes we grow together and sometimes we don't. And so that means we grow apart, and I don't know that like a soulmate, I don't know, I feel like it's like a title that says forever, and I don't know if I believe in forever, because shit happens even to the best of us, even in the best situations, right? Like, we can't control everything. I don't I don't think so. I don't think I believe in soulmates. I don't I don't know. My best friend might be my soulmate, but like not in the sense of like a romantic soulmate, you know? Is that possible? I think that maybe that's possible. What is your most unpopular opinion that you know will start fights in the group chat? Most unpopular opinion that you know will start fights in the group chat. Oh fuck. What is unpopular opinion? Oh damn. Oh, here's the well, I don't know. Do I want to show this? I will. Okay. You know what? I hate don't want to no. Okay, crap. Just there was a conversation the other day. My friend for a lifetime has been like, "You are a closeted Republican." And it's funny and it's a joke, but it's kind of not a joke. And you'd really have to like know me and understand me, but I also don't do politics, so there's that. Like, it's kind of comical that way. This conversation came up in front of my children, so not necessarily a group chat, but in front of like my children, and my child was willing to die on a hill to disagree with this, regardless of all of like random examples that were put in. Um, and so, that started some fights. I mean, not a fight in the sense of like nobody is knocking anybody down or punching anybody over, but like, you know, there was some discussion that came about that, and that was a very unpopular opinion. Um, what else? What is something like probably more more lighthearted. I think that, okay, lighthearted. I was going to say something very serious and that wouldn't have been lighthearted at all. Um, I think it's okay to not do anything. I think that is self-care to not do anything. And I know a lot of people are like, no, that's not self-care. Um, I think that everybody needs a dog. Not everybody agrees with that. I also think everybody needs a cat. And even more people disagree with that. So, I don't know. Who wants to start a group chat with me and we can just say ridiculous, off the wall things and see what starts a fight? I think I could really get feisty in there. We could get feisty in there. Um, if you had to live inside the world of any TV show, which one are you choosing and which one would be actual hell? What am I choosing? Well, obviously at this point I would just choose like Vanderpump or like The Valley just because like that is my go-to, that is my favorite. Um it would be wild. Might be a little wild, but absolute hell would be Jersey Shore. Like the level of extra and annoying and chaos and erraticness, that sounds actually terrible. To me. What else? Like, is there what was the question again? Um it didn't even say reality TV show. It just says any TV show. Oh, okay. Well, if I could be on in any TV show, I just want to be on Schitt's Creek. It makes me so happy. Like all of their family dynamics, they're adorable, and I would be on that show. Because it would be funny and they care about each other and it would be lighthearted, and that would be, a fun thing to like live in that world. And actual hell. Oh man. Um I could also see really enjoying being on like the original CSI and being like one of those forensic detectives, the way that they're perceived on that show. I know that that's not reality, but that would be cool. Or like Lucifer. That would be fun. Like the way they show law enforcement and investigative skills and all of that, and just how like easy and cut and dry it is, like that could be fun. That could be fun. But I think like literal hell would be, I still stand by Jersey Shore. That sounds terrible. All right. Anyways, enough of that. Oh, let's go. What do we got? Looks like some chaotic things. Okay. If life came with Yelp reviews, what would yours say? This is hard. This is hard to answer these things with no preparation. If my life came with a Yelp review, what would mine say? Amazing, fabulous, so charming, never know what you're gonna get. Um, I I don't know the answer. All of those things. That's what mine would say. I don't know, like, damn. Yep, that's what mine would say. That's what I want it to say, so therefore that's what it would say. I would go in and be able to tailor it. So anybody that did not say lovely and charming and funny and all the positive things, I would just go delete them. And then the world would only see what I wanted them to see, sort of like social media, right? That's what I would do. Social media kind of like a Yelp review. It's the Yelp review we want everybody to believe is true, right? All right. What is one completely useless talent that you have? I say I don't have a talent except coloring. And it is probably useless because it does not serve anybody but me. So, I mean, I guess it's not useless in the sense that it serves me, but it doesn't serve anybody else. But also, if I could like wiggle my ears or like do that taco thing with my tongue, I would do it all the time. And that is also useless. I can't do that. So I don't get to call that a useless talent that I have. But I think if you can do it, you can call that a useless talent. Also, when people are double jointed and they can make their elbow like do the thing, that is a useless talent. I like that too. I think that that would be cool, but I can't do that either. Um, also, now hear me out, all of the dancers in the world. There is some dance that I'm like, yes, that makes sense. Ballet, ballet. I can't do ballet. Um, but like lots of space in the world for ballet, lots of space in the world for like all of the hip hop dancing and things like that. But also like all the people that spent all of the years doing like tap dancing or jazz dancing. Um, what purpose has that served in your grown up life? Like, do you just sit in your kitchen and like tap dance, clickety click, 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 or like those twin brothers on social media that go all around the world and tap dance to like Michael Jackson and stuff? That would be cool, but we're not all those people. So, there's my question back to you. What is your useless talent? This is this is the most chaotic and unhinged and unprepared episode ever. Um, okay. If Taylor Swift wrote a song about your love life, what would the title be? None. The end. I don't have one of those. More so, I don't want one of those. That sounds so complicated. And I already have enough complications in life. Like, I don't need that to be one of them. What is the most overrated movie? And wait, hold on. What's the most overrated movie? And what's one you'll defend with your whole chest? The most overrated movie. I only saw The Notebook once. It was sad, it was good, and that was that. Like, I don't know that I need to see it ever again. Um, so the fact that it gets as much hype as it does, I don't totally get it. Um, what's one I'll defend with my whole chest? Probably Gone in 60 Seconds. This is quality movie. Let's all boost cars, drive them so fast, and look very cool while committing crimes. I don't know. I don't I don't know. That's what I got on that one. Um, I don't again, movies are these are hard. I feel like there's so many things in the world that I have like really firm, hard opinions about. But then there's these other things that are just so like kind of they're trivial, right? And I don't know that I've put a ton of thought into it. And so they're tricky when I'm sitting here trying to come up with something just off the cuff. Um, so yeah, maybe that's it. Although I really did the Laura Croft, the Tomb Raider movie when Angelina Jolie did it. I probably watched it every day. Like it was so great. And I wanted to be Laura Croft when I grew up. Granted, I was also a grown up when that movie came out. So whatever. I stand by it. That was cool. That was that was very cool. And great movie. And not everybody agrees with me on that one either. So, maybe that's the one. Okay. Jeez. Um it probably makes me sound just remotely insufferable, like I can't make a decision. But like these are things that don't necessarily like hold a lot of weight in the world. And if you like the movie, you like the movie. And if you don't like the movie, you don't like the movie. I don't understand people that don't like horror movies. Like we should like scary movies. Scary movies are great. So people that don't like scary movies, I'm like, what the hell? People that don't like the Saw movies or the Purge movies, I'm kind of like, well, what do you even mean? Like, who are you even and how are we friends? Because like, what do you mean? Those are Thanksgiving classics around my house. We absolutely would start in October with all of the Saw movies to get through all of them throughout the month of October. And then on Thanksgiving, we would watch all of the Purge movies. Like that was what we did. So those are holiday classics around my house, or even Christmas, like whenever we're all together, especially after the boys like grew up or whatever. We're not sitting around watching It's a Wonderful Life. We're sitting around watching The Purge and being able to have like really, really intense discussions about how we would navigate if the purge happened and what our role would be and what we would do for one another or whatever. So, yeah, I don't understand that. I stand by that. That is actually that I will defend those with my whole chest. What an interesting way of like, I'm defending that with my whole chest. Yeah, okay. All right. If aliens landed tomorrow and asked you to explain humanity with only one reality TV show, which one are you showing them? To explain humanity with one reality TV show. Hold on. Explain humanity with one TV show. Jeez Louise. Okay. That is hard. There's so many TV shows to describe humanity. Um, because like if you have reality TV show, because all the housewives, that's not reality. So we're gonna scratch all those off. Um, again, Jersey Shore, that is chaos and semi-accurate because it is chaos. They are friends. They do have families. And also, no, they've grown up. Their whole lives have been on camera. So like that's still not, I don't know if they know what reality actually is. Um, we can't do any of like the love ones, right? Like Love Island or whatever, the one where they go in the pods. Love is Blind. Is that the one? Can't do that because nobody's doing that. That's not real. Um, we can't do, yeah, I don't know. None of those things are like real situations. None of those things are like real life circumstances. I have to default back to like, I don't know, the Vanderpump or the Valley. And mostly because like they came together in a very kind of like organic way and they were actually friends and they actually are sleeping around with one another, which people do. And they throw each other under the bus like people do. It was on for so long that you see this character arc where people are like growing and changing and maturing and like leaving their little kid job to go get a real grown-up job, which people do. Um, some of them went off to have families, like to get married, have families. People do that. There was some divorce in there. People do that. Yeah, that's, I think that's probably, go watch 11 seasons of Vanderpump Rules, then come back to me. And then like top it off with like the Valley, because then you can really also see how that twisted and like those crazy ass dynamics of, yeah, whenever you go off to be a grown up. And then what happens when you're a grown up and you don't take care of being a grown up, right? You still think you're a child. You still think that you're young and can just do whatever you want. And that's not how that goes either. So, you know, there's that. That would be, I think that's my final answer. It's also just on the forefront of my brain because I get to go see Tom Schwartz and I am excited. Oh, I'm excited. All right. So there you have it. There you have it. The AMA that nobody actually asked for and you really thought that you were going to get, some wise words about boundaries. That'll come next week, right? Thanks for rolling with this level of chaos because yikes. The boundary episode, though, it will come soon. Next week, I promise. I think I promise. I think I promise. Unless, life continues to life as it does, but I'm really confident next week we'll do the boundary episode. And then in the meantime, all new episodes come out on Mondays. You can find them on all streaming platforms. The uncut, more raw version is on YouTube at Dysfunctional Yours Podcast. You can engage with the polls, behind the scenes, clips, etc., on Instagram and TikTok at Dysfunctionally Yours Podcast. And subscribe because we're building a community. We are building a community. If you want to write in to that anonymous Google form, which you can find in all of the bios, then do that and tell me about all of your boundary stories, your favorite boundary stories. Okay. Until then, stay dysfunctional, stay human. And I guess if you had a review section, I hope yours says a little messy, but worth the ride. Until next week, don't be afraid to be great. Toodles, poodles, bye.